Welcome to the Travel Like a Boss podcast, where we interview location-independent entrepreneurs that travel the world like a boss by being their own boss. Here's your host, Johnny FD.
Hola, and welcome to episode 235 of the Travel Like a Boss podcast. I am in Playa del Carmen, Mexico with Sergio Sala. Welcome.
Hey, Johnny. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me to the podcast.
Yeah, thanks for coming over. So Sergio and I have been hanging out here in Playa del Carmen and actually in Cancun for the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
And he was a speaker at the Nomad Summit Cancun and also just a kind of a cool guy.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, also, I gotta thank you for inviting me, for accepting me to be a speaker. It was really, really fun, and also bringing people to my country. I'm from Mexico, so it was pretty cool to do this event.
Yeah, it was fun. I'm really happy that we had a Mexican speaker at the conference, because even though I would say most digital nomads are not from Mexico, I figured we have to have at least one Mexican person at the conference, right? I mean, speaking at the conference.
Yeah, I had to be the representation.
Yeah, so I would love to have a Thai entrepreneur or digital nomad speak at the Nomad Summit in Chiang Mai, but there just aren't that many Thai entrepreneurs. I mean, entrepreneurs within Thailand, yes, but not digital nomads, especially not ones that speak English and involved with the nomad community. And I think that's kind of one thing I don't like about living in Thailand is there's not really a connection between locals and the Farangs or the foreigners as much as there is in Mexico. Here, I feel like every day we go out, it's locals and expats mixed together.
Yeah. There's a thing about that because, language is a barrier. So here we speak Spanish. Like, there's more people English, but what you said in Thai, like most, they don't speak English, so that's the whole barrier. But here it's getting better. We're like neighbors from the States, so we speak better English than other places.
Yeah, but I think a lot of it is I agree, the language is a huge barrier. The other part of it is more than that, because even the Thai people who speak English pretty well, they will, I'll have Thai friends that if it's just me and them, we'll hang out. Or when I see them at the gym, we'll hang out, we'll be friends. But they never invite foreigners to hang out with their Thai friends. It's like a culture thing where it's like they keep the two worlds separate.
Yeah.
Or there's some Thai people who only hang out with foreigners and they don't hang out with any Thai people. Yeah. Here, I really feel like it's a mix.
Yeah, you're right about that. And to put in context, I mean, we haven't talked about who am I and all this stuff, but we met in Chiang Mai, no? 5 years ago. I went one of the Nomad summits, I think 2014 or 15, something like that. And I know also about Thailand, the whole different culture difference it's massive there instead of here in Playa.
Yeah. So what do you think it is? Do you think the Mexican culture is just more open to hanging out with foreigners and also just inviting people? I feel like here it's probably normal when you meet a new friend to be like, oh, hey, come hang out with me and my friends, or come over to my house for dinner.
There are different things. So the first thing that I will say is that Playa is close to Cancun. So we are used of these tourists around here. And also, I'm not from Playa, I'm from Tabasco. It's where the sauce is not made of, but I always say that. But I've been in this place for a while, so I know that we understand more the tourists in Chiang Mai. They only for a while, and there's not that many as here. So I think we get more used to it, and also the Mexican culture, which I love. I'm very proud of it. Yeah, we are very homecoming. We want to teach people everything, our food, everything that we have. So I think it's the whole Mexicans are more friendly, which Thais are also friendly, but I think we're a little bit more than them.
Yeah, I think it's a different type of friendly. Thai people are very polite.
Polite.
Mexicans, I feel like they're very friendly.
Yeah, that's true.
I guess to ask, okay, what if you were in Tabasco and you met another Mexican person?
Another Mexican or expat?
Like another Mexican, right?
Yeah.
Is it normal? Let's say they just moved to Tabasco, but they're from somewhere else in Mexico.
Yeah.
Is it normal for you to be like, oh yeah, we're having dinner with my friends. Come with me.
Yeah, it is. It is. First you start talking to the person, and then you realize it's a normal guy, so I can invite you to here. I think we're trying to make everyone have a good experience. That's what the Mexican culture is all about.
Yeah, so, and I think Thai people, they want you to have a good experience, but they don't want to offend their friends or their family. They feel like if they bring you to their circle, it's intruding, and their friends might be uncomfortable or just kind of, I don't know. I think even in the US, it's like this with Asians too, where we all speak English. But if I meet someone new and I bring them into my circle of other friends who have all known each other for a long time, the friends sometimes will judge and be like, "Oh, why you bring this stranger?"
That's true. Yeah, here we're trying just to bring everyone. Hey, come, Ben. Now you're trying to learn Spanish. Yeah, we do. It's the way. It's a Mexican way.
I like that. But why don't I meet that many Mexican people traveling?
Well, I do. As a Mexican, I feel like we're everywhere. But it's an interesting question. We recognize, I was telling you the other day that the word way, it's like dude.
Yeah.
And
¿Qué pasó, güey?
Not like that almost. No, but the word way, like anyone who listens to this. So if you walk around and you hear, hey, blah, 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 way, just turn around, it's a Mexican. Like 100% sure. So what we do when we hear that, we say, oh, Mexican, we're Mexican too, blah, blah, blah. So we try to say together. If we go around, example, first time, a long time ago, I lived in Italy and most of my friends was a group of Mexicans. But I think because we know how to identify them instead of you, which don't know kind of like the characteristics of each one. I think it's like that. But I feel like we're a lot.
You know what? I traveled now for about 10 years and I can count maybe 5 Mexicans that I've met while traveling.
Really?
While I can count also maybe like 5,000 Germans.
Yeah, Germans are everywhere. I don't know, man. Well, that's interesting. Thailand, there was a few. So let's say Asia, we're not that used to because it's way too far. You know, so not everyone wants to travel there. But if you go, well, the States is so close. Yeah, we find them. I think usually also talking about the language, they prefer, Latin America. So if you go Latin America, you're going to find a lot of them. And Europe. Between Europe and Latin America, that's where Mexicans usually go. So Asia is not that common.
Okay. And I think another part of it is one of my biggest complaints is Mexican food outside of Mexico and, some parts of the U.S. where there's lots of Mexicans. Everywhere else, it sucks.
It's my complaint too all the time.
Oh, yeah. I guess it must be even harder for you, right?
It's horrible. Like every time I travel, the first thing that I miss is the Mexican food, like the authentic one. So hard to find outside of Mexico, huh?
I feel like in every other country, you can find good Italian food, French food, burgers, American food. You can even find good Chinese food or Korean food or sushi or Japanese food. Like pretty much everything out there, right? Whether you want some Greek food, you want a shawarma, you want something, you can find it. And it's pretty good. And in fact, I've had like extremely good, Thai food in, some other countries. Like, I've had like really good ramen or sushi in like Chiang Mai, where Japanese people will eat there and they will say, oh, it's the same as Japan. It's just cheaper here, so just stay here. But Mexican food is the one cuisine that I tried in 45 different countries, and I've been disappointed everywhere.
There are different things. One of the main situation is that, we are used to Tex-Mex. So for people that know, Tex-Mex is Mexican food base. It's the States American food base of the Mexican one, and that's when they put like the big cream and all the stuff, and that's what most people know. And when you travel, you find most Tex-Mex. Authentic one. There's another thing. I think I told you today also about the corn. Whenever the corn gets transported somewhere else, it loses its consistency and its flavor, and it's so different. And one of the main things in the Mexican food is the corn, like tortilla, that's what it's made of. So when you get a tortilla somewhere else, it's very different.
Yeah, even the flour tortillas are normally not great other places, but it's not the tortillas. I think it's more the seasonings, the way that they cook the meat, definitely the salsas.
I was going to say salsas another thing. So corn, tortillas, salsas, because we here in Mexico, we give a few of them, like the red, the green, and whatever. And other places in the world, they just don't.
Yeah, they give you some like El Tapatio or something. Yeah. And it's terrible. Just like, and it's funny because I posted in the Chiang Mai Digital Nomads Facebook group about Mexico and about Playa del Carmen and just saying like how much I missed Mexican food and how I'm so happy to be here. And that's the one thing that Chiang Mai is missing is good Mexican food. and everybody responded, "Oh, but we have salsa kitchen."
I was gonna say, oh come on. For me, it's like
as a authentic Mexican, can you salsa kitchen? Is it authentic?
no. No, that's what I was. Every time I went there too, I was like, no, it's just, like everyone was excited. No, let's go to Salsa Kitchen, Mexican food. I'm like, dude, it's not real Mexican food. And I say, everyone, you gotta come to Mexico, and no, you yourself that you've been here in Mexico, you now see the difference, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, but to be fair, I've always known what good Mexican food is because there's so many Mexicans in California. You know, if you go to like Chula Vista in San Diego, there are some of the same chains as in Tijuana. Like there's Tacos El Gordo, which I actually think if you put the tacos there compared to the tacos in Playa del Carmen, which is actually not known for the best tacos, it's actually better in San Diego.
Okay.
But it's almost like comparing, you know, Bentley to a Porsche, you know, they're both good.
Yeah.
But when you compare Mexican food in, you know, Europe or in Asia, it's like, it's not even a car. It's like they try to make it look the same.
Yeah.
But the problem is the people cooking it have never actually had real Mexican food before. Then second problem is it's hard to get the ingredients. And then third, you know, like people are just I guess those are probably the two things is there's not enough Mexicans opening restaurants in other countries.
But the Tex-Mex thing, because if you go Salsa Kitchen, and there's another one, I forgot the name. I saw like 3 of them in Chiang Mai. They were just giving you burritos, chimichangas, and all this stuff. That is Tex-Mex.
But even if they made good, authentic burritos, I would be okay. I'd be like, okay, this is like good Tex-Mex, all right?
Have you eaten burrito here in Playa?
You know what? They have them now, but it's actually not even a burrito. It's not what we think of a burrito. It's almost kind of like they fold a slightly bigger tortilla in half.
But it's not common. You see, it's not common.
It's not an authentic food. But like actually Californians, we don't like Tex-Mex either. Like breakfast burritos in Texas are pretty good, but they put everything with this disgusting queso dip, which is kind of like a nacho cheese.
Yeah, man.
And it's just not very good.
Yeah.
But the burrito, like even a burrito in California, because that's where it's invented, right? In California, it's not authentic Mexican food, but it's authentic Mexican American food, which is also very, very good if you like that palate. But the problem is, even, you know, Salsa Kitchen is not bad. It's not the worst one. There's much, much worse ones in the world. But even then, I guarantee none of the cooks, none of the chefs, the owner has never had real Mexican food. Yeah. So they're just making it from YouTube.
Well, talking about YouTube, I made a video I just mentioned about the burritos, and they say that, well, I said like it's not Mexican, and someone replied from one Mexican guy, and I did my research, and yes, they are Mexicans. They're Californian, but they're also based in Sonora. So they are, but as we said right now, they're not common. It's not what we eat usually.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. But I guess we could probably talk about this about Mexican food for the whole episode. Let's skip through that a little bit.
It's not a food channel, right?
Yeah, it could be though. I'm sure some people were like, no, keep talking about it. But that's a big reason why I came and I stayed in Mexico is because I miss the food so much, and I love it. It's delicious and it's cheap, and it's everywhere. Aside from that, the reason why I'm here, and I think a lot of nomads are here, is it's like Chiang Mai with a beach.
Yeah.
All right. That's the best way to explain it. There's not that many places in the world that have a good nomad community, good infrastructure, you know, as well, you know, good Wi-Fi, good taxi system, co-working spaces, but also like a good beach nearby. And Playa del Carmen has it.
I have a friend who I met in Chiang Mai who's Mexican. I told you there's some Mexicans around. He said like, so Chiang Mai, or let's say Thailand, it's like Mexico but safe. You know, like maybe you're right. He was right. I will say that too. It's very different, but it's the same at the same time. You know. Yeah,
it has a lot of similarities, like the vibe.
The vibe, the community. It's not that cheap. That's another thing. Someone who I spent a time with, she was living in Chiang Mai, so she came here to Playa, and she was like, all these prices. But for me as a Mexican, they're normal. But she was spending years in Chiang Mai. For her, everything was expensive here. But like, because it's not that expensive, but not cheap. It's in the middle, no?
Yeah, so I would say that Playa del Carmen, at least, I mean, I'm assuming it's a little bit more expensive here and in Cancun than in other parts of Mexico. Mm-hmm. Like, it'd be cheaper in Tabasco, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah, in the small towns.
Yeah. But it's a beach resort town, right? I would say it's definitely cheaper than being near the beach in anywhere in the U.S. Yes. So if you compare it to California or Florida, it's a third of the price or maybe less. It's way cheaper than Barcelona.
Yeah.
And it's still cheaper than even Portugal. Yeah. But it's not as cheap as Thailand. Actually, I don't know. Maybe if you're living in an equivalent place in Phuket or Koh Samui, it's almost the same. I would argue that some things here are cheaper than if you lived on a nice, right near the beach, somewhere nice, somewhere else.
What about that? Can you compare Playa to Koh Samui, Koh Lanta, something like that? You think it's more that an island style than Chiang Mai?
So what I like about Playa del Carmen is you have a nice beach, right? For everyone who's asking about the seaweed situation, it was bad for a while, right? Mm-hmm. And this is through, global warming, through a lot of the rainforest being cut in Brazil and lots of seaweed coming here. And when we say a lot of seaweed, it's like a lot. Yeah. So like so much that they can't just get rid of it. They have to dump truck it in 20 times a day and it costs a lot of money. So luckily that's cleared up. Hopefully it won't come back, but
it's beautiful now.
Yeah. So the sand is white again. The water's clear. It's nice. So right on the beach, you have a nice beach. You can swim in it. You can scuba dive. There's stand-up paddleboard. You can just lay on the beach. There's massages for $20 an hour. It's nice. Then one block over, you have Fifth Avenue, which is the touristy avenue, which has its pros and cons, right? Yeah. So on the beach, you have the beach, but you also have a bunch of like restaurants and beach bars and nice resorts, which is also nice. It's very expensive. If you want to have a burrito, it's $8. If you want to have a beer, it's probably like $4. But it's nice. You're, on the sand. Fifth Avenue, which is one block up. There's no first, second, third, or fourth. It's confusing. But Fifth Avenue is the next street up. That has all the, touristy restaurants as well as the shopping. So you have like H&M and Zara, but also kind of the nice bars, nice restaurants. And that's expensive too. If you go out to eat, it's going to cost you $15.
I think that's cool. So Fifth Avenue is very interesting. I also been thinking about it, how I'm going to explain to my audience, like, what is Fifth Avenue, because it's a mix of everything. It's so you have the fancy restaurants, but also like a few ones, but most are fancy, but that's where everyone is, it connects everyone.
Yeah. So when I first heard about it, I assumed it was just a tourist trap that locals would never go there, but they do. They don't eat there all the time because it's expensive. But if they want a nice meal, that's where the nice restaurants are.
Yeah, exactly.
And if they want to go out to a nice bar and dress up, that's where they are. So locals do go there. Yeah. It just also happens to be where all the tourists go because it's the nicest area.
Then I show you this bar where we brought all the Nomad Summit attendees. Senzi, it's just in front of the beach.
Yeah,
and we have all those styles too, just next to Fifth Avenue, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, so I do like it. And there were some cheaper places too, right? Like, as you mentioned, there's random local places, but there's also the 21 peso place.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the Chapultepec, something. It's very cheap. And the place looks nice, It kind of looks fancy, but you go there, it's 21 pesos.
Yeah, which
like
is
$1.
$1.05, $1.10.
Something like that.
And guys, muchachos, everything is 21 pesos, which means for €1 or, $1.05, you can have shots of tequila or mezcal or brandy or scotch or whatever you want. You can have beers, and full-size beers too, not those like Corona Anitas. You can have ice cold beers. You can have mixed drinks. You can have a margarita or a daiquiri. You can have whatever food you want. Everything's $1.
It's crazy, right?
It's like almost impossible to spend more than $10 while you're there, and you can have a great night.
And they have tacos too for $1 or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
And it's right on Fifth Ave, and there's 3 of them within 4 blocks of each other. And
then the other block beside Fifth, we have the 10th, which has like cheaper prices than the Fifth. So it's like it's for everyone. That's a pretty cool thing.
Yeah.
And Fifth Avenue is long. We also have to think
It's
about
really long. It's like a few miles long.
Yeah.
And so I guess the way to describe Playa del Carmen is you have the beach, you have the expensive road, you have a cheaper road, and then it gets cheaper and cheaper as you go further up. And it's not that far. Like everywhere you could walk to within 10 minutes.
Or we get the bikes as we.
So today we just got BC Playa, which is $20 for a whole year of bike rentals. They have stations every other block.
Yeah.
And it's fantastic.
Yeah, that's what I like. It's getting easier to move around. Yeah. Well, we don't rent scooters like in Thailand, no? In Chiang Mai. But yeah, because with bikes you can go, and taxis, they're also very cheap, usually $2 to go anywhere.
Yeah, so with the taxis, at first before I came, I was very upset that there was no Uber.
Yeah, I know. It used to.
Yeah. I wish there was. I wish they didn't, kick him out, the local kind of taxi mafia.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And hopefully they come back. But to be fair, the taxis here are actually not bad. I think it's fine. I don't think it's an issue. The only time it's an issue is when you first arrive and you either don't know the prices and get overcharged, or I guess also if you don't speak any Spanish and you can't say that where you want to go, or if you take the taxis at the taxi stands, especially near the bus station, where the flat rate is 100 pesos, which is $4, which actually isn't even that much. It's just 3 times the price as it should be.
Yeah, you just gotta know all those things, all these tips to have better prices. But I was gonna ask you too, now that you said it. So you, as a digital nomad / tourist, first time in Playa, what about the language? How do you feel with that?
So luckily, I've taken a little bit of Spanish. My Spanish is not very good, but I can kind of communicate what I want. And now with Google Translate on your phone, it hasn't been an issue at all.
But do you think you need it to come here?
I think it depends. If you stay on Fifth Ave, where all the tourists are, you don't need it at all.
Yeah.
I think you can get by never speaking a word of Spanish. You'll be okay.
Yeah.
I think on 10th Avenue, you need half and half. And then if
you go further away,
then by the time you get to 30th Avenue, which is only 5-6 blocks from the beach where I live, it's 100% Spanish.
Yeah, it's all in Spanish. Yeah.
So my Spanish is not very good, as Sergio can attest to. Yeah. But
it's okay. It's okay.
Like the fact that I can tell the taxi driver, 30 con cuatro. Por favor. All right. Yeah. They understand, he wants to go to 30th and 4th. Okay. And then, I can say like, yo quiero 4 tacos. And even though my grammar is wrong, they understand. You know?
The message gets sent. So that's cool. Yeah. That's what the debate that I had the other thing about English, Spanish. But I think even for Americans, I think it's good because if they travel, they only keep speaking English. They should learn another language. And I think Spanish is a good one to learn. Yeah, Spanish is the easiest language to learn as a native English speaker. And it's spoken a lot in a lot of countries. And it's very useful. Yeah. All of South America, all of Central America, besides maybe Brazil. And then a lot of, I guess just Spain. But in Spain. No, but it's massive. Like, I think it's the second most spoken language right now. Yeah, maybe. Well, at least it's the second most useful. All right. Yeah. Right. It doesn't matter if more people technically speak Chinese because unless you want to go to China or maybe Taiwan or Hong Kong or something, you're not going to speak it. You're not going to speak Chinese to anyone in Europe or in South America. And I speak it. I never use it. Oh, wow. Except for to yell at Chinese tourists when they're being rude. You speak like fluent? Yeah, I speak, yeah. Oh, I didn't know. But I never use it, so nobody even knows. It almost doesn't matter. Yeah. I think the most useful languages are English for sure, 100%. Yeah, English is the one. Then Spanish. And then it just depends on where you want to travel to. Mm-hmm. If you really want to go to Brazil and Portugal, then Portuguese. If you really want to go... I don't... Well, no. Screw the French. I like the French accent, but it's not for me, I really want to go to the former USSR countries, Eastern Europe, so I'm learning Russian. And for me, it's more useful than Chinese. Yeah, you're right. Talking about that area, like Georgia, it's close to, not the same. What about that Georgia compared to Playa or Chiang Mai on prices? Which one is cheaper? So it all depends on how you live. If you want to live like a true local, as in you live in a small studio apartment, so you have no kitchen
maybe not a flat screen TV. You just have bed, bathroom, local. Maybe you're not in the city center. You have to like commute, come in 10 minutes to the city center. You want to eat only local food. You never want to eat, you never want to have like Western style food. And you don't drink wine. You're not drinking out that much alcohol. You're not eating cheese or bread. Then Thailand and Chiang Mai is by far the cheapest place you can go.
Yeah.
You can I lived off of $500 to $600 a month, and I had a decent life. I lived like a local. It's not very possible to do that here in Playa del Carmen, unless you have a roommate and you live in a family, you live really far. Because just the rent alone is going to be $300-$400, even if you live a little bit outside the center.
Yeah. Well, it's changed a lot. Like 5 years ago, the first time I came here, I got a very, very cheap one. It was, as you mentioned, I think it was $200 or even less, but also a long time ago.
Yeah. I think it's getting harder and harder to find now, if you want to live somewhere near the center, it's going to be $400 a month minimum,
More, yeah. And this one's around 30th Avenue. Yeah, it's less than that.
Yeah, this one's $550. Maybe it's cheaper if I took a year lease, but it just, it's not like Thailand cheap, right?
And it was Airbnb, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's what we use. I mean, if you speak Spanish, then you can like kind of talk to the owners and get a deal. But yeah, it's not that common too.
Yeah. So Thailand, like you can get a place for $200 a month, right? And here it's not very possible, right? But here's the thing is, if you're living more of a Western, I don't want to call it upscale, like comfortable lifestyle. So for me now, what I want and when I travel is I want to be in the city center. I want to be within a 10-minute walk of everything. My life quality is that much better to meet friends, to go out, to, go places, just, meet up. If you live outside, you either have to deal with the hassle of commuting in or you just end up not going out as much.
Yeah, you
just stay home. Yeah. And people, they trick themselves, they lie to themselves and say, oh no, I'll just take a taxi or I'll drive. It's not that far. It's only 10 minutes. But every time I talk to them, I'm like, hey, you want to meet up for dinner? They're like, oh, I don't know. It's kind of far. I just came back. Oh,
Yeah.
And it's like you're missing out on life. Like why? Like if you want to just stay home in Michigan.
I know. No, I think about that too. And I've seen a lot of friends on that. Like I'd rather pay a little bit more because I have the option to move around without problem,
Yeah. Stop by your house if you forget something.
Also that, which happens a lot to me.
Yeah, or if you want to drop off your bag or something, there's no stress of dealing with trying to find a taxi in the middle of the night.
Yeah. We think that we save a lot of money, but we're just having more hustle to live a good life, So yeah, you got to think about that balance.
Yeah, it's also thinking about like what your time is worth and your mental like stress is worth, right?
Yeah.
Do I want to argue with a taxi driver every night to get home? No, it's annoying. Here, because it's in the center, I don't even ask the price. Even as a tourist, I just get in and I say, 30 con cuatro, por favor.
Yeah.
And then I give them 35 pesos.
And they know. Yeah,
and they just know. Or if it's a little bit later, I'll give them 40. If I'm like drunk in the middle of the night, and it's like 2 a.m, it's raining, I'll give them 50.
Yeah.
But they've never once been like, no, like you need to argue because it's not that far.
But then in the ranking, okay, I was saying about the prices of Mexico on a Playa, Georgia, and Chiang Mai.
So
what's the ranking?
If you're living in the center and you want to have a 1-bedroom apartment with a separate living room, a couch, a flat screen TV, a kitchen, and you want to eat Western food, at least sometimes, maybe not every meal, because I like local food, right? But I want to be able to eat Western food,
Time to time.
a few times a week or something.
Yeah.
I want to have beers. I want to have some drinks or cocktails. Nothing crazy, but I want to just enjoy myself. I want to have like some cheese or some bread once in a while, kind of more like Western style food. Then actually it's cheaper in Georgia because there you can get a really nice 1-bedroom. Even I had a 3-bedroom apartment for $400 a month.
Wow.
And you can have, good cheese and bread and wine for really cheap. And internet and Wi-Fi and taxis are really cheap. So the lifestyle I was living in Chiang Mai, it would have been cheaper if I just lived in Georgia or Poland or Ukraine or something like Eastern Europe. And actually probably, I would say here also, I think it depends. I think Playa del Carmen is definitely the most expensive out of those 3.
when you think about foreigner stuff, Western.
Yeah, but even I don't know. Even like I only eat local food. Like I haven't really had any Western food since I've been here because I love Mexican food so much, and there's so much different like varieties, right?
Yeah, it's a lot.
So I would say Playa del Carmen is a very good value. I spend about $1,200 to $1,500 a month here, but that's me eating a lot, drinking a lot, going out and scuba diving, having a gym membership, co-working space membership, kind of everything added together. That's in Georgia, it'll probably be a few $100s less, and in Thailand, maybe it's closer to 1,000. But at the end of the day, it's like it's about life quality, right?
Yeah.
And none of it's expensive. Like you think about it, like if you're really bootstrapping, you're starting out, you shouldn't be drinking or living in a nice place anyways. You should just live as cheap as possible.
And those 3 options are good options.
Yeah, and all 3 are good options.
Only depends. Yeah, I mean the greatest thing about Playa, if you're listening and you're American, it's like very close.
That's the number one reason why this is a good place for Americans. Is it's an easy, not even just Americans, Canadians too. Mm-hmm. It's an easy short flight. Yeah, usually it's a direct flight. Maybe it's one stopover. It's pretty much the same time zone. It's the same time zone as like New York.
Cool. Because a lot of people struggle in Asia, with the time zone. So that's a key point.
And it's close enough and cheap enough where if you need to go home for something, like someone gets married or someone's birthday or, Thanksgiving or Christmas, you can just be like, oh, I'll go home for a few days.
Yeah.
Versus if you're in Asia, it's you're like, no, there's no way I'm going home.
No, it happens to me a lot. Like I love Chiang Mai. But the reason that I go that often is the same thing. Like to see family like so far, I wish we just invented teletransportation. It would be easier, but come on.
Yeah. But then we have the visa issue as well.
Well, yeah, how's the state with the visa here? I think it's 6 months, no?
Yeah, well, not just the U.S. It's pretty much everyone. Yeah. When you come to Mexico, you get 6 months on arrival.
That's cool. I didn't know. I didn't think about that.
Yeah, we got a stamp. It's free, and then as soon as you leave and you come back, you get another 6 months.
Oh wow!
So technically, as long as you leave for at least like a week or something, just to don't come back the same day. You can pretty much live in Mexico forever on a tourist visa.
So kind of like the multi-entry visa that we did in Chiang Mai, kind of 6 months and leave and come back.
Yeah. And just that, like, imagine that Chiang Mai visa, but never having to pay for it or apply for it. And then it renews every time you come back.
Wow, that's interesting.
It's amazing.
See? You see, Mexico, we just want to bring people.
Yeah.
That's cool.
The only country that has a better visa is Georgia.
Wait, how?
Where you get 1 year on arrival.
No way. I didn't know that.
Which is almost like it's unnecessary. It's better, of course, but it's 6 months is fine. I'm not like as digital nomads, we're always going to travel somewhere.
Yeah, after 6 months. Yeah, so.
Yeah, and if you're not, you should.
Yeah, that's one struggle of Thailand, Chiang Mai. It's just all this visa stuff, man. It's getting out every 3 months or 2, depends on your visa. It's a little bit annoying.
Yeah, and it's like the same. At least as a tourist, if you're just going for the Nomad Summit or something and you're going for less than a month, it's easy. You just show up, you get 30 days for free. There's no BS.
But most of us want to stay longer, so it's a problem.
And then if you want to stay for another month, it's pretty easy. You go extend it, pay $30. But then if you want to stay longer, then it becomes hard. Yeah. Unless you pre-planned it, you went to the embassy back in your home country, you got the 6-month visa. But even then, Thailand now, they don't want people staying for more than 5 or 6 months a year, regardless of what visa you have.
Really?
So even though the visa is good for 9 months, they're like, no, don't stay here for more than 6 months a year.
It's crazy. I mean, yeah. The problem is, for example, Europe, for you and me, most of the nationalities, like this horrible that tons of countries in one package and it's only 3 months of 6 months. That's horrible. So,
yeah, the Schengen visa, for you guys that don't know, is pretty much all of Europe, at least all of Western Europe.
Yeah, it's horrible.
And it's nice if you want to go for a few months, if you're on vacation. We get 3 months every 6 months, so 90 days for free. But the problem is it doesn't reset until another, 6 months. Which means you'd have to come back next winter.
But it counts all the countries. That's the horrible thing, you know. Like if I want to leave, let's say 2 months in Barcelona, I only have 1 month left.
Yeah, that's it. You're done.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And that's the big reason why I've been spending time in Ukraine and now Georgia is because they have their own visas.
That's cool.
And Ukraine, and unfortunately, it's also only 3 months, but at least it's not connected to the rest of Europe, so it's okay. It's funny that when I went to Ukraine, everybody was like, oh my God, it's so dangerous. And when I got there, I realized it's actually not dangerous at all. Like maybe if you were on that one area right next to like the Russian border where there's a conflict, but everywhere else I've been, it's actually very, very safe. Mexico was the other place where everyone warned me, it's dangerous, don't come. And I was scared, to be honest, right? People would send me like random people. I don't even really know them. I don't think I knew them at all. They just like sent me articles every time it was in the news. And I'm like, oh man. And you know, I'm not stupid, so I'll look into it. But at the same time, I don't fall for like news headlines.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, like from your point of view, is it safe here in Playa del Carmen, Cancun?
That's another topic that I still don't know how to talk to my audience about Mexico itself. So it is safe. It's not that safe at other places, let's say. So you hear a lot of things in the news, and as we all say, you know, even in the States, there's a lot of shootings. Like here, it's not that common to have shootings. It's just the narcos thing. Like they're all around Mexico. They're mostly on the north, which is the fight on the border, and that's where they are mostly. But if you walk around here, like Playa is very safe. Yes, you can find someone occasionally, maybe who wants to steal your stuff. But it's not that common. Even, let's say Mexico City. Mexico City has 22 million inhabitants, you know? That's a lot. So, yeah, there's one killing, which is horrible because it's a death after all. But that small one on 22 makes the news, you know? And now it makes everyone think that it's dangerous. So it's not like if you're just a normal guy who takes precautions. I mean, I have a big camera, which I make my YouTube videos, and I work with that without problem. I will be a little bit worried at night only, you know? Like I'll be, maybe if someone see this camera, I will try to take it. But if I'm in Fifth Avenue, it's totally fine. But if I go to the 30, which is like a less people walking around, that will be a little bit more sketchy. But it is not. I don't know how to explain. Like it's safe if you have common sense. I will say that. What do you think?
I think the exact same thing. So what you have to, the only thing the news is good for, what you should worry about is when something becomes so common that the news stops reporting about it. Right now, it's very easy for them to get clicks and get viewers anytime they talk about a murder in Mexico. As soon as there's one, especially if it involves a tourist or it's near the tourist area or anything to like remotely, you know, be like, they even go as far as saying like, you know, there's, like murders in Soledad,
yeah.
Which
around Playa.
Which is then they will say like, which is the area where the tourists are. And then I looked at it, I was like, this Soledad is a big area.
Yeah.
It's like saying there was murders like somewhere in Western Europe. It's like a big area, but they just, and I read more and they're like, oh yeah, no tourists are involved. And I'm like, why did you even put in the headline, murders in the tourist area?
Yeah.
It's just to get clicks.
Yeah.
So here's the thing is, I value my life. I hope you guys listening to this realize that I'm not stupid. I love my life.
Yeah.
And I would not put myself in a dangerous situation just to be in a dangerous situation if the rewards are not high enough or the risk is too high. I've traveled a lot and I'd like to think I have a pretty good head on my shoulders. If it was truly dangerous, I would not be here.
Yeah.
There are places in the world where I choose not to go. A lot of places in Africa, even including South Africa, which I really like. When I was there, I was like, you know what? The danger level of me getting killed or robbed is actually pretty high. And it's not just like some made up statistic. Like you don't see it in the news. Like nobody's talking about like, oh, murder in South Africa, because it would happen like every freaking hour. There'd be a headline, you know, in places that are currently at war in the Middle East. Like I just don't go to those places because I'm like, why should I go? Just to be different or like be a pioneer or be, you know, just be like, oh, it's so cool. Like I'm the only tourist here. The fact is there are 52 million tourists a year in Mexico just from the US.
That's great.
That's hundreds of millions of tourists from other places. Yeah. And unfortunately, 114 of them get killed every year, which sounds like a lot, right? More than 100 tourists got killed. It's a lot. But if you look at the math, 114 divided by 52 million.
It's a small percent.
It's five zeros before a percentage.
That's great.
So
yeah,
the calculation is, am I going to be one of those people? Maybe, but the chances are very slim. I will put the caveat that if you get involved in drugs in any way, if you start selling drugs, even just to other tourists or to your friends, the chances of you getting murdered are much higher because now you're involved in the cartel trade and you're in competition with them.
I was just going to say that, like, so some of the kills over there, you don't even know what's going on, you know, they could have been in all these deals. Like, that's the problem. We don't have wars here, like, in, where you said, like, Iran, I don't know exactly where. So we don't have all those stuff. We only have, like, this narco situation, but it's not every day. And it's usually, you know, things that happen within them because there's several bands. And sometimes what happen is that they go on the streets and there's like civils that die, and that's like the whole news that happened. No, but it's so rare. It's not like every day. It's not at all.
So just statistically, you are, I think, more than 10 times more likely to get in a car accident than you are to be killed while in Mexico.
Yeah.
For any reason. And that means that if you are willing, especially in places like even Thailand, which I love, there's a lot of traffic accidents. A lot of people get killed in car crashes, bus crashes, especially scooters and motorcycle crashes. In Indonesia, it's even worse. If you are, okay, here's the thing. If you are willing to go to Thailand or Bali and get in a car for any reason, even if you're not driving, even as in, you know, in a taxi or something, especially if you're willing to get on a scooter, you are much more likely to get killed there, more than 10 times more likely to get killed there, maybe 20 times more likely to get killed there than you are to die in Mexico for any reason.
But everything is about the news. I just give you an example. Let's say Medellin, Colombia, which I just went, I think 2 years ago, whatever. And my dad was all worried, you know, oh, don't go there. Like, watch your backpack. Someone will put drugs on there, you know. Like, my dad is Mexican. But it's because that's what he hears on the news, like, from other places. It's like what you hear in Mexico. But when you're here, I was telling you again, it's very rare that something happen. Like, you will have to have very bad luck for something to you to happen. Or you'll be showing off what you have a lot. Then you're going to track whatever.
Yeah, and I don't know. I mean, honestly, like, I think I'm extra paranoid here. This is one of the few places where sometimes I'm like, oh, should I wear my gold watch out? Or should I bring my camera out? And sometimes I just leave it because I'm like, I don't need it. But even then, I know that if I did have it, it's probably actually okay. Like the chance of me being robbed or something happening is actually probably lower here than in most big cities in the US. It's lower than if I was in France or in Barcelona.
That's interesting.
And I think here's the difference is when I'm out at, like, let's say some random restaurant or something, even here on 30th Avenue, like, which is more the local area, I look around and I'm like, you know what? Nobody here would rob me. Like, they wouldn't even think about it. Like, there was no, even to have the opportunity or they were like behind on their rent, nobody here would rob me. Not just me, just like they wouldn't hurt anyone. They're just like good people.
Yeah.
But if I was in LA, or if I was in Detroit, or if I was in South Africa, or if I was in Italy, or Paris, I would look around and be like, oh, yeah, at least 2 of these 10 people here, if they had the chance, they would steal my shit. They, like, for sure.
Well, I was raised in Mexico, so 24 years, let's say, in total of my life. Yeah, I never been rough, and I just know some friends or just a connection that it might have something stolen or get robbed, but it's not.
Yeah, and it happens here, right? Especially like people target tourists that come off the cruise ships because they have money and they're not paying attention. And unfortunately, my friend Chris got his backpack stolen from a Starbucks on Fifth Ave.
No,
but it wasn't. Yeah,
we're saying that it does happen, but it's not common.
Yeah, and it's like the more I think about it, the more I realize he got really unlucky. Mm-hmm. Like it really could have happened to anyone, and it could have happened anywhere. It's not like being here now for over a month and having friends that have lived here for years. They all have heard of things happening, but it doesn't happen every day. It doesn't even happen every month. It doesn't happen to everyone. It just happens sometimes.
Yeah, I would say there's always good people in the world, and there's also bad. And I give you a quick story. I just remind myself right now. This weekend, a friend, she was driving to Playa. She lives a little bit far, so her phone got lost. She was on the bike. And she's like, "Oh, can you help me?" Yeah. So we went to iCloud and checked where it was because she didn't know where exactly it fell. So we got the tracking and it started moving. And we're like, "Oh, damn, someone took it." But I was thinking, no, there has to be something. So finally, I called the phone. They replied, and it was a guy. Say, yeah, I took it. I saw it on the floor. And I was just waiting for someone to call. So it's nice that you called me. So let's meet. And we met. They gave the phone.
Wow.
No money, nothing. He didn't ask for anything.
That's great.
Typical Mexican guy who just wanted to help. So
that's really nice.
It was pretty cool.
And I think that's the thing is there's a lot of, like, I would say the vast majority of Mexicans are very nice people, hardworking, honest people.
Yeah.
You also have a very small percentage, maybe 0.0001% of people who are bad motherfuckers.
Which that's everywhere in the world,
Yeah, I would say the difference is the extremes are different. Okay. Like people are either very, very nice or they're like, cartel criminals.
That's true.
But the odds of them being a cartel criminal is so small. And if you're not involved in that scene, or you don't just if you're not so unlucky that you're in the wrong area, which is literally the same odds of you being struck by lightning. If you're really unlucky and you get struck by lightning, that sucks. I feel bad. If you're really unlucky and you happen to be at a bar or hotel where the cartels come shoot a rival gang member or something, and you get shot, I feel bad. It sucks. But the chances of that happening are still so small that if you are willing to go outside when it's raining for the chance of getting struck by lightning, or if you're willing to get into a car, even if you're in your hometown, even, wherever you live, in Europe, in Germany, in the US, if you're willing to get into a car, whether you're driving or not, and go on a highway, then you should be willing to come here.
Yeah, if we talk about it more about this cartel thing, I also just remind myself another thing. It was 2 years ago that the thing got heavier. That these cartels came here and whatever, and there was this bar and there was a festival, the EDM. I don't know if you heard about that. There was a shooting there, 2-3 guys died, but there was so many people, and that was big. There was a big scandal. All the news went viral, and everyone thinking the playa wasn't safe. Some bars closed. One of my favorite called La Santanera. It was amazing. But it was a situation that happened 2 years ago, and then things started to settle down. And as I said, it was just between these cars, they tried to kill whatever, we don't know. And, things with the government because they tried to show power, and government no, we are the power, all these battles. But it's between them again. It's still, as I say, it's not really common, I swear.
Yeah, I mean, you will see, what you will see are police or military driving around with machine guns. And it's weird when you first see it.
I swear that for me, it's not that common. And I'm not used to that, Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's not a normal thing to see. So I can understand why, as a tourist, you might look at it and be like, oh my God, what's happening? But when I look at them, I'm happy they're there because they're there for our safety. And I don't think it's necessary for them to be there, but I'm actually happy they're there.
It's like when you see cops around, it's cool. They're just checking around, so you feel more safer. Yeah.
And so, okay, So I guess to wrap up the safety part, because we could probably talk about this forever.
Yeah.
Statistically, it's safe. In reality, it's not unsafe.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody here should be a little bit more cautious. Definitely don't get involved with the drugs at all.
Yeah.
100%. And then I would say as far as like non-violent crime, like petty crime, getting pickpocketed or robbed or something, I think it's actually lower here than for sure Barcelona or Paris. 100%, or Italy.
I will say, when you get here, that you will feel safe, and as the days pass by, you'll start forgetting about it. You know?
Yeah,
that's the least thing that you think about each day when you've been 2 weeks, 3 weeks already here.
Yeah, and it doesn't mean it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
You know, unfortunately, it sucks. You know, it happened to my friend, but his bag could have got stolen in Italy, and nobody would be like, "Oh, you know, don't go to Italy or don't go to Barcelona." You know, and.
But if you're scared, you're gonna miss out tacos.
Oh my god,
playa, man, everything.
Yeah. At the end of the day, for me, it's like risk versus reward, right? Where the rewards are so high and the risk is so low that I'm just gonna go. I'm gonna enjoy myself. I'm not gonna be stupid. Just like I'm not gonna be stupid enough to drive drunk with no helmet in Bali.
Yeah,
but. You know, I'm still going to enjoy myself.
So you only visited this time Playa, right? You didn't check other
I've been
cities?
to, like, Rosarito. I've been to Tijuana.
Which one did you say?
Rosarito?
I don't know.
Kind of near Tijuana. It's all in Baja.
Okay, I don't know.
So I've been there a lot because it's close to California.
Well, Mexico City?
No.
It's
my first time.
Telling you, man.
I want to go. I want to go for the Al Pastor.
The tacos, the real tacos are there. There's so many options there.
Yeah. I've been watching Taco Chronicles on Netflix.
I heard about it.
It's good. Everybody should watch that. And then you'll be so hungry. You'll be like, oh, I need to go to Mexico.
Yeah, I know.
So you've been to a lot of places, right? So you grew up in Tabasco.
Yeah.
When did you start traveling?
Born and raised in Tabasco, like the sauce. I always say that. I studied a career in Puebla. I studied architecture. And my first ever travel was through my university. They have like a students change, and I apply, and I got accepted to Italy. I live in Turin, and it was more the original plan was 6 months, but I extended for a year and a half. It was my first time outside of Mexico. I always feel like this Sergio before and after the experience. Travel around Europe, saw like how cheap was to fly over there, Ryanair, and all the stuff. So I realized that the travel bug bit me, they say. I came back, finished the career in Puebla, I'm officially an architect, and then I was going to start, I started a studio in Querétaro. I saw myself an architect, but things happened and the studio didn't succeed at all after a year. And so I just came back to Tabasco and like, well, what should I do now? But all these years, ever since I was 14 years old, I learned to code because I love machine gun, pump it up. I created my first website. So I was doing websites just a hobby. That's when I realized, well, maybe I can be a freelance, right? We're talking about 2013, 14, a long time ago. So that's when I realized that I just needed a laptop to be anywhere. And I said, man, let's travel.
So since then, where else have you been?
Since there, I've been to many places. The first place was Peru, Lima. There's this organization called ISEC. I don't know if you heard about it. It's like a youth organization that they give you two options, like an internship or like a social project. So I applied for social. So they give you a place to stay with a local family. It was pretty cool. But if you want to work or create your own business, you won't have time, But for me, I said I was starting. I needed something like they gave me everything. So I was like half time on the social project and the other part working on my stuff. So it was cool. I spent 3 months there. And then I realized that, I wanted more. I think Playa was like one of maybe the second place that I went. And in Playa, like 5 years ago, I went to Nest. It was the first co-working in Playa. And it was a different building than the one that you know now. Okay. And a guy next to me, I think his name is Eric. He just, are you a digital nomad? I'm like, what? What is that? And that's when I officially became a digital nomad. And I've been traveling many places now. Chiang Mai was one of the places that I wanted to go because everyone's saying go to Chiang Mai, and I love Buddhism, so I was like, Thailand has to be my place. So I was already used, Europe, Lima, Costa Rica, the States. Also, my first time in the States, Fargo, North Dakota.
Wow, yeah.
And everyone asked me why,
Yeah.
There was a conference there. It was called the Misfit. It was amazing. It was only 2 times. I went 2 times, but it's not there anymore.
What type of conference was it?
So it's really hard to explain, but it's like a creative.
Okay.
It was small. There were many cool people. The minimalists. You heard about the minimalists? So they're my friends because I met them there.
Oh, cool.
It was just like 80 people, so we met everyone. And minimalist, Jason Suk, like a few cool people.
Okay.
Jonathan Fields, whatever. And it was pretty cool. Then after Fargo, I always wanted to go to New York. It was my dream. So I flew to there, and it was also, I love New York. It's one of the greatest places, I think. It made me realize like what is for me the States, and I fell in love. And then I flew to Portland, Oregon. There was another conference called World Domination Summit by Chris Guillebeau. You know the guy or
no? But I've heard of WDS. It's
cool.
A great name.
Yeah. But it's the last one next year, so.
Because they've already dominated the world.
Yeah, exactly. So that was my first place in the States. And I think after that, I went straight to Chiang Mai. Okay. And Chiang Mai just makes you... I like it, but it's just so nice that you just want to stay. So for me, it was almost a year.
Wow,
or
nice.
more in there. Like back and forth, going back to see the family and going again. I was going to stay. I was falling in love from Chiang Mai. I got the multi-entry, was going to apply to stay the 9 months, the whole trip. I was staying 9 months. But there was everything happened for a reason. I was invited to speak in the DNEX in Buenos Aires, which is the Spanish version of the DNEX. I don't think it's still there. And they paid me the ticket.
Oh, nice.
From Thailand to Argentina, which is, it's a long way. So when they invited me, I was like, maybe that's why I should. This was my time to leave China. Okay. So I was gonna stay longer. I don't know what would have happened. And I stayed in Buenos Aires. Then I went to Medellin, and then back to Mexico, to Playa, to Oaxaca, to a few places. And I've been to many places. Hard to say.
Have you been to Europe yet?
Yeah. Well, Italy.
Okay.
Italy first, but then I travel around like Barcelona. Yeah, I forgot to say. Because I did the Nomad cruise too. Uh-huh. So it was from Gran Canaria. Oh, we
were there together.
Yeah, we went. Well, but you didn't go to Nomad cruise that time, right?
I don't remember.
No, you didn't.
But I was Gran Canaria.
I wouldn't remember, but we met in Gran Canaria. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, in Gran Canaria. Oh, I forgot Panama, because it was Gran Canaria to Panama, so we do Bocas del Toro, San Jose. Europe, I've been to Barcelona, lived 2 months, Lisbon, 2 weeks. I'm gonna go back. But I've been all around. But as a digital nomad, not that much. That's what I want. I want to try, Berlin. Next year, I want to try Kiev, Georgia, all these places, Moscow with Matthias that I met him the road trip. So, man, there's many places that I want to see.
Yeah, lots of cool places, right? Are you gonna go on another Nomad cruise?
So I promised Johannes that I will when I get better on video, because like this is my new thing. So I've been writing for 6 years and just 1 year of YouTube, and I'm enjoying it. That I just start posting everything in English. So I think in a year or something like that, when I get so much better at camera, like Johannes, I promise you I'll come back.
Okay, nice.
And you?
I'm gonna go. So I've only been every summer. I don't go on their long trips because there's no internet for those 2 weeks. Yeah, I would like to do it, but it just hasn't worked with my travel schedule plans, because I always have to be somewhere to organize the next Nomad Summit. But I like the summer ones because they're a little bit shorter. They're in Europe, which I want to be in anyways, and they stop every other day, which is nice. I think it's kind of like a nice balance. So I don't know when or where it's going to be summer 2020, but I'll probably go on it because I really like it.
So you done a few or just the one that
I've done 2.
Oh, 2.
Yeah, I've done one from summer to Athens to Greece, and then another one just from, I think, Gran Canaria to Lisbon.
One thing that I don't personally like is, to fly to the place so you can go to the cruise. Like, I'd rather plan it before or be close so I can try the cruise.
I think the smart thing is if you could spend a few months in that area first, enjoy it, go on the cruise, and then spend a few months in the next place. That's the best.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of nomads, they're so afraid of missing out that they don't want to plan ahead. And the best thing that I started doing the last year is I started planning my entire year in advance. And I'm going to do a recap on my blog about what actually changed or what stayed the same. But pretty much all of it stayed the same. And what that allowed me to do was save a lot of money on flights by booking ahead of time instead of last minute. First off, I get cheaper flights, but also better flights with like more direct flights, premium economy sometimes instead of coach, like less layover time. But it also let me book better Airbnbs because instead of having like very low selection last minute, sometimes I book it like 3-4 months in advance.
And it's cheaper.
And there's a good selection. So this has really allowed me to kind of know where I'm going to be. And it doesn't mean I won't change it. Like the few times I've changed something is because something way better happened. Not just like a little bit like, oh, I'll FOMO if I don't do this, but more just like, oh no, I really want to do this, or I really want to, you know.
Yeah, I try to plan in advance at least a year. I always do my annual review and where I want to go. And try to book everything in advance because if not, like last minute, everything's so pricey.
I wish Airbnb would have better monthly refund policies because it doesn't make sense if you book something for a whole month, 7 months out, and like
they should
3 months out you want to cancel or change it. Like if they take 100%, that's stupid. I think it's a really bad customer service and experience on Airbnb's part, and it discourages monthly rentals. So I hope that Airbnb either changes that policy or a competitor comes in where they only do monthly rentals with a better refund policy.
That'll be interesting. There's a few people doing digital nomad sites for booking, but still
they're too small. There's not enough inventory.
It's hard.
It's like there's a big hole in the market, I think. So whoever's listening, if you want a business idea, it's going to be hard, but it'll be worth it.
We're waiting for that.
Yeah, we are.
Have you tried co-livings?
Yes and no. Let me think. I've definitely been involved with some co-living. I don't know if I've actually lived in any co-living spaces for more than like a few days or something.
Would you try it?
Yeah. It depends. I think the biggest problem with co-living is usually it's way more expensive than I just booked it myself.
I was going to say that, yeah.
I think what they need to do is make it competitive where, like, of course it's a business that needs to make money. But if they charged, 50% more than what I can just get on my own, like, why would I pay it, Like, unless they're giving me 50% more value, which normally they're not.
It's like you pay for the community. I mean, it's good and bad. I don't know. I had a one in Montreal right now. It was nice. But I could get it cheaper if I got my own place, but there was already community. It was pretty cool. I
think what they need to do is they need to find places where they can make it so it has like a built-in co-working space.
This one had, so I didn't pay extra for co-working.
Yeah. So as long as the price of the monthly rental including the co-working space is more or less within 10% of what I would pay myself for a place and a co-working space, then I think it's fine.
Yeah.
But if it's going to be way more expensive, then I'm like, no, like it's not worth it.
Yeah. Well, I was just curious because the way that you travel, I think it's not that useful for you to try the co-livings, I think.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's complicated, like I think there's a lot. It's a young industry for us, but I think a lot of things are going to happen.
Yeah, I'm excited for what's just as you said, John. There's so many things showing up and businesses, and it's a good opportunity for anyone.
And I think it's not just for digital nomads. I think more and more people want to travel this way and have more flexibility. The days of needing to sign a 1-year contract for everything, like for your gym membership, for your phone, for internet, for everything. I think that's gone. If you rent for your house, nobody wants to do that anymore.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, I think the new generation, we value flexibility. We're willing to pay a little bit more for it, but we want the flexibility.
Also, like the sense of freedom, like it's kind of related. The freedom that we can say, we can change whatever tomorrow. We're not tied to something.
Yeah, and honestly, I think some of that's a little bit bad where we're like, okay, tomorrow we want to get up. I think we should be able to commit for 2-3 months, 1 month, 2 months, 3 months. I think that's fair. And I think it's probably healthier if we commit a little bit.
Yeah.
I think, and we should, like, for example, at gyms, what they should do is instead of trying to get you to commit for 1 year, forcing you to commit for 1 year through some crazy fees or something or some outrageous pricing, I think that's stupid. I also understand why they don't want people to go month to month. What they should do is say, no, we have month to month and it's a fair price, but it's kind of expensive. But if you do 3 months, then it's a very reasonable price.
Yeah.
Buy 2 months, get one free or something.
Did you try or know the gym Snap Fitness in the States?
No, I haven't.
Oh man, it's so annoying. So I had it in Ohio because my mom now lives in Toledo, close to Detroit. That's another story. I went to this one. It's so horrible. The contract, and I only wanted it for 2 months because this time I was going to stay with my mom. And when I needed to cancel the contract, all this year I need to talk to the guy. Oh, why you're canceling? Oh, it's so annoying. I just want to pay. I wish I could just pay the month instead of all these horrible contracts.
I really hate it. I think people who grew up in the U.S. or somewhere where they're used to it, they just don't know any better. But once you've tasted the freedom and you start questioning things, then you're like, this is insane. Why would I do that? Like, I have so many friends who are locked into a cell phone contract or a cable contract or something that they just can't get out of. And they think it's normal.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, that's not normal. Like, you've literally handcuffed yourself to some BS company that doesn't care about you. They're not giving you the best service. They're not giving you the best price. They're just like, they're forcing themselves.
And as we said, now the digital nomad world and even anyone on internet, now we have the options. And that's the cool thing. So yeah, things are going to change for the good. I hope so.
Yeah. So kind of back to the robbery thing is, I know that when I live in the US and I'm paying US prices, it's a 100% chance that every month I'm getting robbed just because I'm overpaying for stuff.
Yeah.
It's like here, there's maybe it's a 1% chance, right? Maybe it's probably lower, right? But let's say it's, más o menos 1% chance that something bad might happen. I might get robbed. I might get overcharged or something, something negative, right? I probably won't get killed, but something, 0.1% chance that something bad will happen. And if it happens, it sucks, right? If I am in Bali, that probably goes up. Probably goes to, maybe a 10% chance or maybe even 20% chance that someone's going to skim my credit card or my ATM card, because it happens so much there. Yeah, it's insane. Or, I'm going to get into an accident and hurt myself on a motorbike or trying to drive through this crazy, like, low passes. Or, something bad will happen. It's probably like a 10-20% chance. People just don't want to think about it or talk about it. They're like, oh, it sucks. They got a motorbike accident. Like, they're surprised. It happens so much. And in the US, it's 100% chance that I'm going to get robbed legally by overpaying for stuff.
I know.
So for me, it's not an emotional thing. I know it's more emotional to know that there's a 0.00001% chance of getting beheaded here in Mexico as a tourist.
Yeah. When
there's a 0% chance of me being beheaded as a tourist in Thailand or in Switzerland or in the US. And that's scary to think about because it's a big headline that you're like, whoa, I don't want to get murdered. I don't want to get kidnapped. But the reality is the chance of that happening is so tiny that does it really, really matter at the end of the day if I get killed in a car accident or if I get killed by a shot by a gang member or cartel member? I'm still dead. And then my chance of getting killed by a cartel member is 0.00001, or my chance of getting killed in a scooter accident in Bali is 0.001. I'd rather take my chance of getting killed by a cartel member.
Yeah, but it won't happen. No, it's just like, it's very unlikely. I think travel, which I love about, I love many things about travel. One of the things, it just makes you realize a lot of things. Talking about what like, it makes you conscious of what are you paying back home, as we were saying. It makes you conscious of your material stuff, like everything that when we are actually in our comfort zone, we just let it go, and companies just take advantage of that.
Yeah. And that's the real danger, is getting comfortable and just allowing, the government to take 40% of your earnings every year because you live in the US, you live in California, they take another 10%. Or, daily life taking $40 a day for lunch and dinner because that's just what it costs.
Yeah. Or
just everything, insurance taking $400 a month from your paycheck without you even realizing. Like, that's a 100% sure way of being robbed every month, while being robbed here is less than 1%. So I'd rather take that risk.
That's interesting. Yeah. That's why we inspire others to travel too.
Yeah. And I think hopefully this episode kind of opens a couple people's eyes, because I know it's scary, right? It's an emotional thing, like it's much scarier to think about getting attacked by a shark and killed by a shark than it is to think about drowning. But the fact is, you're much more likely to drown swimming in the ocean than getting attacked by a shark. You're much more likely to get into a car accident on your way to the beach to go swim than you are to get killed by a shark. You're much more likely to get struck by lightning while coming out of the water than you're get attacked by a shark. But the thing is, it's scary as fuck to think about getting attacked by a shark, which is why it makes the news headlines and why people are so scared of sharks. While nobody is scared of getting in a car. Nobody's scared of cancer from smoking, even though the chance of you dying from smoking is 1,000,000 times higher than getting killed by a cartel member or getting killed by a shark attack.
Yeah.
Yet we stupidly worry about things that don't really matter that much. And we talk about it and consumes our mental space. It stops us from enjoying life, coming to places, saving $1,000 a month or more, living in a place like Mexico, rather than staying in Fargo, North Dakota in the winter because we're scared. And that fear is holding us back. And that is the real danger in life, is staying content, somewhere safe and comfortable, and having a guarantee that we're not enjoying our life as much as we could.
I always say that fear, you cannot remove fear, just gotta make it your ally. Like if you hold the hands of fear and say, let's do it either way, and the other side of the leap, you're gonna have a better experience. And that's what I hear a lot of people who come here, either Playa or around Mexico. They're like, wow, I wasn't expecting this. It was so nice, so much better than what I hear in the news. And some people stay, my friend Jordan, also from the road trip, he loves it so much that he's moving in next year to Playa, So because they realize that it's so much better than as people think about.
Yeah. I like it a lot as well. I'm actually in the middle of writing a big blog post all about Playa del Carmen, best places to eat, and also more about the dangers and annoyances here. So look on johnnyfd.com. It should be out by then. Sergio, you've made a lot of videos and wrote a lot about Playa del Carmen as well. How can people find that?
Just my YouTube channel. So just search my name, Sergio Sala, which is Sergio Sergio, and then Sala. So yeah, I have a website too, and my Instagram, like everything. So about digital nomads, I make videos. So if you want to check it out, you're most welcome.
Yeah, really cool. And they're both in Spanish, but also now you have a few English ones coming out.
Yeah, so my blog's been in Spanish for 6 years, but 1 year I started a YouTube channel, and currently everything will be in English, so everyone can understand. So yeah, anyone is welcome to see. I have videos of cool stuff coming soon. Living in Montreal, living in Playa, living in Mexico. I'm going to make videos about Mexico too if anybody is interested.
I like it. And also, Sergio did a full talk at the Nomad Summit Cancun this year, and that should be out actually any day now. So If you haven't already subscribed to our YouTube channel, go to YouTube, type in Sergio Sala, subscribe to that, then type in Nomad Summit, subscribe to that, and also subscribe to our email list at nomadsummit.com. And we'll let you know as soon as all the videos are done. Hopefully, they'll be out by the time you actually listen to this. So let's check it out. And Sergio, gracias for coming on the show.
Thank you, Johnny. And hope to see everyone on the road.
Yeah, somewhere in the world. Hasta luego, guys.
Thank you for listening to the Travel Like a Boss podcast. If you want to hear more, including the bonus How to Choose the Perfect Niche episode, join our mailing list at travellikeabosspodcast.com. See you next week, and remember, if you want to travel like a boss, you need to be your own boss. So start your online business today and start living the lifestyle you've always dreamed of.